My name is Justin Ellis. I'm with CompLegends.com, and we've got your PFL Weekly Challenge number 24. And this is coming from Wodapalooza, workout number 4 called Category 4. Here are the details for this week's challenge.
PFL Weekly Challenge number 24 Wodapalooza Category 4, 18-minute AMRAP, 10-calorie row, 10 wall balls, 10 single dumbbell stepovers, 90 double unders, increase each round by 10 reps each movement except the double unders.
All right, so thank you to my lovely real person assistant, if you didn't know that. We got 18-minute AMRAP, as many rounds, and in the case that they're the scoring is going to be as many reps as possible in this case. So if you haven't already, check out the Wodapalooza.com website. Now, you're probably too late for the individual qualifier, but soon enough, I believe the beginning, and we'll check out all the details here towards the end. There is the team qualifier coming up after that. So we're doing this workout kind of in the scale of everything that is going on with Wodapalooza. So if you are already in the qualifier and today technically would be the last day to get that in, maybe there's a last chance to improve that score on this workout. We wanted to dive into it and see maybe what you thought. So going back to it, some of the details in this workout. You have the row, the wall balls, the single dumbbell stepovers, and we also have the double unders to end. All the movements are going to increase by 10 reps per round. So be prepared for that. It starts off kind of as a trap and will build as you go along. And the biggest thing and hopefully we'll find it here on the website as far as any clarification on the single dumbbell, where you have to hold it if there is a place that you have to hold it. But I don't believe there is. So that does have some added benefit to the strategy for this week. So as always, guys, if you haven't already, go over to YouTube. You can like and subscribe our channel there, Comp Legends, or you can go to complegends.com and check out the written word for the tips and strategies on this workout, if that's what you prefer, man. And or you can check us out on any podcast application that you may listen to your podcasts on. So give us a like and follow, and let us continue to grow as we go through all these workouts. And as these competitions start to build up, we're going to really be diving into those tips and tricks and all that good stuff in the spirit of CrossFit or fitness competition. So let's take a further look into this one, and I'll go right out the gate by saying I think this workout here, at a minimum, what we're trying to strategize for is at least 3 rounds. Okay, I don't know. I think 3 rounds is probably maintenance. So if you said you looked at this workout and you were like, man, not good at the row, wall balls not my jam, not real sure about the dumbbell stepovers, and double unders can be hit or miss. I think what you're targeting there is something like 3 rounds, just to make sure that you're not falling too far in the leaderboard. I think to help your cause and continue on your pursuit to qualify 4 plus, really. I mean, I think you got to hit that 4 mark and then jump back on that rower for some reps, if not even back to the wall balls. What that means is you would get into the 40s, right? Round one's 10, 20, 30, and then 40. And then, well, technically finish the 40 and get into the 50s is what we're saying, to maybe even boost your chances of qualification this week, or in this workout. A couple breakdown points, and as always, like I talk about every workout every week, know your strengths and weaknesses for this one, or like everyone, right? So just for instance, in my case, what I don't feel terrible about the row, but I'm not real long. I'm not real tall, about 5'8". So the row I still have a pretty good, powerful pull just based on training, but I'm still not probably leaning into that 1500 calories per hour. I'm still sitting probably around that 12 to 1300 if I'm in the beginning, and then gonna really be pushing it still to keep it over that 1100 mark. Wall balls, I will say, are not my jam. So I know I'm gonna have to go in there with a more detailed strategy than even say the rower. And the dumbbell step overs, again, at that height of 5'8", I'm doing a little bit higher reach there. So I'm going to have to really make sure I got a good position for my dumbbell so that it's not affecting me. I can focus on the steps themselves with that 50-pound dumbbell. And the 90 double unders, that's where I feel like I'm probably the best out of this workout, for me at least, it would be within those double unders. So with all that being said, I want to make sure that I have a game plan going into it. So a little bit of breakdown as far as kind of how I always break these workouts down is like, all right, I start with 3 seconds per rep and then quantify that per movement. Like double unders obviously are way faster than 3 seconds a rep. Wall balls, that's pretty agreeable. They're a little under 3 seconds, unbroken. The stepovers, I think, are going to be a little over 3 seconds a rep, especially if you're having to play with that dumbbell a little bit as far as how you're moving it and positioning it. And then, the row, that's a little bit different too. So the breakdown that I have here, for the 10 calories, I think you roughly want to be really living in that 45 seconds or less per 10. So I'm going to break it down in these 10s. So per 10 cal, 45 seconds or less. And that's if, say, you're not real confident in the rower. And ladies, I know this is going to be a little bit different for y'all. Now, I think the strong lady rowers, 45 seconds is going to be where you want to live. Strong guy rowers, I think you're going to be closer to that 30 seconds is what you're targeting. We've tested minute max efforts and had a lot of workouts with like 21 or 27 in there. And I know within a minute's time frame, over 20 cals is not unrealistic in a multi-round workout. So with 10 cals, half of that 20, 30 seconds is very doable, and it's something that you got to think about like later down. The first 10, I know a lot of people are going to want to sprint this first round because it's not very hard. I think that's a trap. So don't come off that rower in like 20 seconds or 15 seconds and set yourself up for failure. Make sure that you have some sort of pace there. I think if you're a good rower, set the tone at about 30, 33, 35 seconds. If it's not a strong suit, 45 seconds still will do. You're just going to have to live there at 20, you'll be at a minute and a half and so on. Then we look at the wall balls. Again, unbroken max effort, I've seen in a minute. Guys are somewhere around 30 typically. So now you're looking around more like 2 seconds per rep and a nice fluid motion. And ladies, you can actually get a couple more reps within that minute. I've seen some, 32, 33s on average. And it's just the measure of that distance, right? So we have the advantage on that row. Ladies, you might have a little bit of advantage on the wall balls unbroken there. With that being said, the 10 wall balls, I want to live at least at 30 seconds here. That's putting it back to the 3 seconds per rep. That's saying if there's some breaks in there later on. So if you're coming off the row and you take a couple deep breaths, you pick it up, you do your set in 20 seconds or so for the 10. You're right on track there. The single dumbbell step overs, this is something you're going to want to practice before you get over there. I put in there, and this is kind of being modest. This is really just getting you to that 3+ right now at 45 seconds to a minute for per 10. I think that is not pushing the pressure there. That is taking your foot off the pedal, but because maybe it's an unknown for you. So don't have that hold you back if you feel like you can push 45 seconds and under, because I think you definitely can. If you can position that dumbbell, maybe it's overhead or you're able to switch it pretty easily and you have some length to really make that step not very difficult, because I know that's where it's going to get me. Push the speed there And I really think you could do more like 35 seconds or so on those boxes per 10. The double unders, I think anytime you see a double under in a qualifier, the open, a lot of times that is the make or break piece. And it seems like in this first round, because it's the high volume piece and somebody that's really good can do this in about a minute. And somebody that is not as good could easily funnel this into 2 and 2.5 minutes. So, later on, the numbers are going to start to bring the workout back to ground zero. So even if somebody comes out the gate really good with sprints through the first 10, because who can't do that, and then kills the double unders and they're so far ahead, doesn't mean you're quite out of this just yet. They're going to have to hold that pace, that tone through the 20s, which again, nothing too terrible. I think that the box step overs are going to start filling it. But then 30 and then 40, hopefully, as you get there. Don't be afraid to break this 90 and half, bigger to smaller, meaning 50 to 40. With that being said, if you go 3, that's not terrible. Even if it goes into a 4th set, I don't think it's terrible. But the difference there is they're not sets because they're breaking up because you need to rest. Maybe it's a unforeseen error, clip, or your shoulders. And I say not to rest to catch your breath. Maybe to rest your shoulders, maybe to rest your calves if that's what affects you. But it's pretty much a stop and then start, right? There shouldn't be a whole lot. Like you're about to go to that rower. I know it's another kind of cardio attribute movement, but you're going to sit down and the row, no matter what you do over there, is a very controlled movement. At your hardest, it's still kind of have that metronome feeling to it, so you can get on there and start pulling and get work done and start to control your breathing. If you have to push those double unders just a little bit, it's the highest volume. I know it's maybe one of the fastest and should be consistent. Now, what I'm marking here is a minute to a minute and a half on those double unders. I'd really, even if it's not the greatest movement for me, I still want to push this under a minute and a half if possible. And I think it's very possible. Even if you're somebody that can do 25, 30 at a time, you just got to get right back on it. You can't beat yourself up over, oh, I clipped again. Oh, I clipped again. Who cares? You'll pick that rope back up and do another 20, 25, and now you're at 50. You're over halfway done. So that, I think, at best case scenario, obviously it's hard to give just everyone a strategy on this, but if you kind of know what your per 10s look like, then you kind of know what your workout looks like. Now you know kind of what your goals look like. I think you have a better shot. And like any workout, it's not ever won in the first 30 to 33%. It's not in those first, round of 3. In the case of an AMRAP, 18 minutes, it's not going to be in the first 6 minutes that the workout's won. What I want to be able to do is maintain a certain pace to where that last 2 minutes, I can kind of throw all that pacing that I'm talking about out the window and just go ahead and get after what I have left in the tank. And if I pace this correctly and I'm sticking to the game plan, I've still got something to throw out and kind of exhaust the rest of my fuel. Okay, guys, as always, let me know what and how y'all attack this one. I'd really like to know. I know the scores are going in, and I did look at some, and it looked like actually after I even put together some of these numbers, what I thought it would be. And 4+ is, let's see, 4 rounds is 660, and there's a lot in that 665, 700 range. So it's right there in that 4.5. As far as what scores are in right now, as far as some top scores. So, like stated earlier, you can go to the blog, complegends.com. This is where you'll be able to sign up for your free accounts when we drop those and start ranking up through the Premier Fitness League itself. Also, like I stated earlier too, go to the YouTube channel. We've got all the workouts. We did some Legends Masters comp. We're going to touch base with the team competition for Wodapalooza. And of course, when the Open comes back around, we'll be diving heavily into that as well. All right, instead of a product review, we're going to kind of talk about Wodapalooza here. And as you can see there on the website, January 13th through the 16th of 22 is when the actual event happens there in Miami for Wodapalooza. And they're just wrapping up the individual ones. This is one of the workouts that we talked about today. But, and if, let me see if I can get the online qualifiers pulled up. But they have the team qualifiers coming up pretty soon. And let's see here. Online challenging qualifiers. So here we go. And if you've never heard of well, that didn't give me much information. If you've never heard of Wodapalooza, really cool event. I believe they forget who hosts it. As far as online, you can even watch these workouts. We've seen some athletes go to this one, and it is always a fun one. So here we go. October 31st. Team kicks off and workouts release begin November 1st. So you still have a couple weeks until the team version of this goes down. So you can see that on your screen there. November 1st, the team registration closes the 10th, and Miami Team Open registration the 23rd. So I believe what you got is about a week and a half to do all the workouts that they release. That's why the registration closes the 10th. And then, of course, it is in Miami, the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th of January. So really cool event, as always, and I don't expect them to disappoint. This one is if you're an upper level athlete, this is one of those where you can get paid. And it's also a CrossFit sanctioned event. So this it's not the first. There was, I believe South America is hosting one this weekend, as a matter of fact. But this one is one of the first of the season. So you're going to start seeing some big athletes in these competitions, and 50 grand goes to the first place, and they go all the way to the fifth place paying 10 grand. This is where you can get, so they go 6, 7, they paid the top 10 positions. They'd pay the masters first position of each division, adaptive, and then even elite teams are going to get paid as well, top 10. So, as far as entertainment purposes, this one's a pretty good one to keep your eye open for. So, you don't have to pay and do them all and submit your scores necessarily, but following along is always fun. November 1st, it looks like those workouts are going to be released, and we're going to try to jump on this one a lot sooner. This just happened to be the day tomorrow or today when we wanted to release this PFL challenge, and we like to piggyback off some of these other competitions and get involved. Good workouts, good tests. It doesn't really matter where they come from. So let us know how you did. That's going to wrap up this episode. Wodapalooza challenge called Category 4. It's the 24th PFL weekly challenge. And like and subscribe. Let me know how things are going on your end. Until then, let's be a legend.